fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head Left D, tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Welcome, folks, to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Ken Francis. And back in our sound room, you know who it is. It's TK and Heavy D. We'll be joining those guys a little bit later in the show. And, Ken, another fun night on FRL. We're going to be talking softball and baseball tournament seeding this weekend, believe it or not. That's here already. And then a little later in the show, we're going to be chatting with a left-handed pitcher that throws a wee bit harder than you used to back in the day.
He does, Craig. And first of all, talking about the show, you know, we're covering some tournament action tonight, softball, baseball, Craig. It's hard to believe that we're talking tournament, but the drawing is coming up this week. The Shelby County League, the MAC, a lot of great teams having a lot of really good seasons this year, Craig. So looking forward to giving everybody our preview on the seeds of this coming weekend's draw, Craig. And then we're really looking forward to heading up north. When we go north, we usually go Minster North, maybe a little further north than that, Craig. Tonight we're going up to the WBL, the Western Buckeye League. We're going to talk to Celina star Seth Lonsway. Craig, all Seth does is he can flat out bring the gas. He's throwing low to mid 90s. He's already signed with the Ohio State baseball team to play with the Buckeyes, Craig, but a lot of people think that he'll never step foot on campus over there. So we're going to look hear what Seth has to say tonight, Craig. He's got 5-0. He's got a .23 ERA. Averages almost 13 strikeouts per game. And not only that, Craig, he's a switch hitter, and he's hitting over 500. So one of the greatest baseball players in the state of Ohio this year, Craig. Looking forward to having him on our show.
Yeah, so many good stories about him, and I'd like to talk about him all tonight. With only 30 minutes to do that, though, we're going to be challenged, but we'll give it our best shot. But speaking of baseball, Ken, state tournament polls been coming out the last couple weeks. A new one came out this past weekend, and that has to do with tonight's trivia question.
Yes, it does, Craig. Which baseball conference has the most teams in the state poll this week? Is it the GWAC, the MAC, the Shelby County Athletic League, or the WBL? So which of those four conferences has the most state-ranked baseball teams this week?
Now, usually on our poll question, we ask for an opinion. Tonight, there is a right or wrong answer on this one. So if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page on your computer, you can scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you're watching us on NK Telco, we will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started. And like we said, it's tournament draw this weekend. We typically like to focus on the small schools, Division IV. That's what we're going to do tonight. And we'll start out talking softball and the Sydney Sectionals, the one we always pay attention to. It gets underway on May the 9th with 15 teams, which are actually going to be split up into 3 brackets. The winners of each of those brackets will move on to the district tournament in either Piqua, Mason, or Eaton. So we're going to check out and see who your tournament seeds are. You're going to predict this weekend's tournament seeds. Before we do this, though, I want to know, do you think your predictions tonight will have any influence on maybe the pollsters voting this week?
Absolutely, I think it will. I think a lot of viewers out there. There's a lot of coaches, a lot of softball coaches. A lot of them, they don't get a chance to see teams from the Shelby County League, or maybe all the teams from the CCC, or maybe the Ohio Heritage Conference. So they've got to rely on something, and this is quick, easy way for them to get some quick data on these teams. And we're going to show you right now how we're going to rank our top 15 teams in the Division IV softball sectional.
Well, let's get those first. Let's start, like you said, 1 through 15. Let's start from the bottom, Ken. Let's get those first 8 seeds out of the way right off the bat.
All right, we're going to start off with seed number 15, Botkins of the Shelby County League, Fairlawn also, Jackson Center. Those three teams have all struggled in the Shelby County League this year. Mississinawa Valley, Lehman, Tri-Village. And then, Craig, looking at our 8-9 seeds there, we got Ansonia, Lormy, traditionally two very good softball programs right there, both struggling some this year, but might be a little interesting seeds right there that far down, Craig, but this year that's where they fall.
Yeah, it could be an opportunity for an upset there, but I agree. Those teams that were traditionally pretty decent, we got them a little bit further down on our seeding this year. How about the 5, 6, 7 seeds?
5, 6, 7, Craig. We'll start off with 7, and that's the Mechanicsburg Indians. Craig having a pretty solid year this year. Then you've got the Shelby County League team, Houston, always a good program, as well as Bradford. So again, these schools, especially Bradford and Houston, they're traditionally rich softball teams. They're sitting at 5 and 6 this year, a little further down than what you typically might see them schools.
All right, and the most important seeds, of course, are the 1 through 4. What do you got for 1 through 4?
Well, 1 through 4, Craig, the danger seed here is the 4 seed because, that's the team that doesn't get to go in their own bracket. They're going to be paired up against one of the top 3 seeds. Craig, I got the Covington Buccaneers sitting at number 4. They just lost to Russia just last week. A big win for the Russia Raiders there. Craig, I got Riverside sitting at number 3, having a really nice year this year. Craig, the Russia Raiders, undefeated in the Shelby County League under Coach Molenkamp, having a great year. They hit for power. They got great pitching. They got 2 really nice pitchers, Craig. So they're sitting at the number 2 seed. And then the number 1 seed, Craig, the Newton Indians. They won the state championship just a few years back. A very traditionally rich softball program. And again, very strong this year.
Yeah, I agree with those seeds, guys. Newton being number 1, 9-0 right now in the CCC, and I think we all know that is one of the strongest local conference here in the area. So I'm with you on Newton there, and of course our Russia Raiders. They are 8-0 in the SCAL, so very deserving of that number 2 seed. Interesting pick with Riverside being number 3 there. They're at the top of the NWCC. So maybe deserving of being up there, but I don't know if Covington maybe at number 4 might be a little better than them. Michelle Heitkamp, first year over there, former Versailles coach, now with the Bucks, and done a very good job over there. Very quality team over there. So, I think Covington, Riverside, it could be either or on that one, 3 or 4 there. But I agree with the top 2 seeds for sure. But interesting picks, and we'll find out more this weekend.
I find it interesting there, Craig. They're taking those 15 schools, splitting them into 3 different brackets. That's only 5 schools per bracket. You take a first-round bye, and essentially you're basically in the semifinals of the sectional, so without even playing. So. So pretty easy, possibly. You win 2 games and you're going to the districts.
Yeah, we mentioned though, a little earlier that the Ansonia Larmy, a team like that gets an upset in the bracket. There could feasibly come out of that bracket and be in the district tournament.
Absolutely.
All right, Ken. Well, let's move over to baseball and not quite as many teams in the sectional with the Troy sectional, I guess we call it. What we pay attention to, Division 4 over there, just 11 teams in that sectional bracket. They split up they actually go into 2 different districts. And let's take a look at your 11 seeds. Start from the bottom, maybe the 9, 10, 11. Who you got there?
Well, Craig, got 3 Shelby County League teams here at the bottom, and it's Fairlawn, Jackson Center, Botkins. They've been down there all year in the league standings, and they're going to start down at the bottom of the sectional tournament, Craig. Seeds 6, 7, and 8. Is that where, or 5, 6, 7, 8? When you look at these teams, Craig, again, you get into some teams here that got some pretty good pitching. Couldn't be a dangerous team. The Covington Buccaneers, Craig, I think they're a very dangerous team sitting there as the number 9 seed. If I'm a head coach, I don't want to play Covington when Mr. Bly's on the mound. I'm sorry, I can't remember his first name, but he's a great pitcher. And, they're a team there that have given Russia Raiders tons of fits over the last years in tournament. Houston, Craig, Shelby County League, Mechanicsburg, and Riverside, rounding out those 5, 6, 7 seeds.
We hear a lot about Riverside over here, and the ball club that they have up there. They always seem to have a lot of guys that hit well and rack up a lot of stats. Playing up there in the NWCC, we don't get to hear or see their games quite as much. And you mentioned Houston there too. kind of been the fourth place team in the Shelby County League this year. You've got your Anna Rushis and Larmies up there and battling for that top spot, but Houston's kind of always been just right there in the middle. So I think right in the middle of the seating is probably where they belong. But Riverside's an interesting pick there at 5.
Right, and then Craig, when we look at the top 4 seed, and we talked about the league there with Riverside, their competition in that league is just really not that good, and that's kind of where Lehman falls here. Lehman's got the best record in the sectional. Actually, I think they're tied with Triad for the best record, but I'm going to have Fort Loramie, Craig, sitting at the 4 seed. I think that's a very dangerous 4 seed. Coach Sturwald's got a very young team, but I think just the way the season has played out, I think that's where they deserve to be is the 4 slot. Again, very dangerous team. They've got some very good young pitching over there. They got a good catcher, and so Coach Sturwald's going to have his kids ready to play. And one of these top 3 teams is going to have to beat them to get out of the sectional. Craig, I got the Lehman Cavaliers sitting as the 3 seed. Triad Cardinals are having a great year this year. Very traditionally strong baseball team. And then Craig, the number 1 seed, very well deserving. I got Coach Kevin Flippo and his Russia Raiders. Had a big win the other night at Anna. They've knocked off Houston a few times. Although Loramie did beat Russia, Loramie's sitting there with 7 or 8 losses, so that's kind of weighs in on the overall decision.
Yeah, sometimes you get those kind of games and those kind of questions. Where Fort Loramie. If we go back to the girls' side, we had a Riverside up there, and Fort Loramie way down in the seeding. But Fort Loramie actually beat Riverside this past weekend in their invitational over there. Yeah, in this case, Fort Loramie beat Russia just a couple weeks ago. But I think you're correct when you put Russia at the number 1 seed and Triad probably down there in the 2.
Yeah, and I like to look on overall strength of schedule, and there's not a team on that list there that has played a tougher schedule than Russia or Fort Loramie. Those 2 schools have played very challenging schedules, a lot of MAC schools, and that's why Loramie is sitting with 8 losses, Craig. You got Loramie on 8 losses, you got Lehman at 2 losses, but you flip-flop their schedules, and I guarantee you their schedules are probably flip-flopped as well.
All right, well, you gave Russia that number 1 seed, and one guy that knows a lot about the Russia Raiders is our own TK. I want to go back to the sound room and get him on here. TK, you were at that big game on Tuesday night where Russia visited Anna, and tell me, is Ken gives them the number 1 seed. You saw them on Tuesday night. Are they deserving of that number 1 seed?
Oh, definitely now they are deserving. I think even before that game, they had a good argument. Splits with Piqua, splits with the number 4 in the state, Fort Recovery and doubleheader. A good Versailles team who's a division ahead of the Raiders, as Ken mentioned already. But to go up to Anna, come from behind, 2 outs in the top of the 7th, a gutty team, not always having their bats hitting like they want to, but right now they are. So I don't know how anybody could argue that team doesn't deserve to be the number 1 the way they're playing right now. A big key to it, I think, is depth of pitching. 4 or 5 good pitchers there, 6 sometimes. That's something a lot of teams don't have. I think, as Ken mentioned, with Fort Loramie being young, I think that's hurting them is young pitching. They get past their Jared Mittendorf and the senior Daniel Burning. That's where they start to get in trouble. A team like Russia with all that pitching, a solid team all the way around.
All right, good stuff there, TK, and I think we all agree with that one. Beating Anna, a Division III team, a state ranked, very big win for them right before the tournament draw.
Right. I agree, and again, a lot of dangerous teams. I think the top 4 there are definitely those are your 4 best baseball teams in the sectional. But like I said, keep an eye out for the Covington Buccaneers, Craig. That's a team there that year in and year out, come tournament time, they get very strong, and they have a really good pitcher over there. And when he's on the mound, they're a whole different team.
All right, well, listen, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there because we're going to talk some more baseball when we come back, including that big interview with Celina pitcher Seth Lonsway.
Stage at the Leaping Van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can vandals here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. A teacher, a cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Ken, before the break, we were talking a little Division III, Division IV baseball and softball, talking about some tournament seeding. Every once in a while, we talk some Division I, Division II on the show, don't we?
Yes, we do, Craig. We'll get into some G-Walk once in a while, and tonight, we're getting into the Western Buckeye League, but really looking forward to talking to Celina star Seth Lonsway here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, he's got, like I said, a lot of stories that we can tell about him. One of those, Ken, actually a little earlier this year in a game against St. Henry, Seth went 6 innings against the Redskins and actually faced 18 batters. Of those 18 batters, struck out 17 of them. So.
That's quite impressive right there. In St. Henry, that's a traditionally very strong baseball team. And, you take a kid, Craig, that's a senior in high school. He's 18 years old, and when he can bring the heat like he does, low to mid 90s. I hear he pitches at 91, and there's a big difference between pitching at 91 and actually throwing the ball 95 miles an hour. But he consistently pitches at 91 miles an hour, Craig.
Yeah, he does. And in a game against Defiance last Friday night was the last game he actually started, to my knowledge. And actually, I was told that there was as many as 15 radar guns in the stands that night,
I heard
clocking
that.
This guy.
That is, and Craig, when you're bringing it from the left side, it's even more impressive because to get somebody throwing that hard, Craig, but especially when they're left-handed, even more special.
Well, listen, like we said, he's a senior for Division II Celina. He throws left-handed. He's been clocked, like you said, in the 90s on the radar gun this season. We welcome to the show now Seth Lonsway. Seth, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, listen, Ken and I here, we're just talking, we talk a lot of Division III, Division IV baseball on this show, Seth, so happy tonight to talk a little Division II baseball. And first things first, you had a big WBL game matchup on Tuesday night at Wapak. Both your Bulldogs and the Redskins were the top two teams in that conference over there. Both of your state ranked in Division II, and that game went to 9 innings. Unfortunately, you came out on the losing end of that one, just a close game there, 4-3. Seth, is there anything that your team learned from that game on Tuesday?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Walpak's a very competitive team, and they're not going to make too many errors. And the one thing we definitely learned is, moving guys over in crucial spots when we needed to. We had guys on, and we failed to move them over, whether it was, getting a base hit or on the bunt or just whatever it was. It's just those little things. And I think also a few errors. We had a few oopses there that we had guys on, and we just couldn't get that third out when we needed it. But the little things, it's always the little things, and every team has those. And moving forward, we notice those and we try to improve on them. So it's kind of what I kind of think from that.
All right, well, listen, I was actually at Marion Local on Tuesday night watching some small school baseball between the Flyers and the Fort Recovery Indians over there, and I ran into Sonny Folks over at Press Pros Magazine, who's covered you a little bit this season. And I said, where are you coming from, Sonny? And he said, I was actually up in Wapak trying to I thought maybe Seth would be starting up there. And he said he actually was playing center field. So when did the decision get made for you not to start, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, with throwing Friday against Defiance, it was kind of one of those things where I was only on 3 days rest. So I threw, I think it was close to 100. It was right at 100 pitches up at Defiance. So having only 3 days rest, it was kind of one of those things that was how I felt, with my arm physically. And, other guys had to get a start. Other guys on the team have to carry their weight also. So it was one of those things where we started another senior, and it was just his time to throw. And, also playing center field and first base, it's, I'm playing every day, every game. So, it's, we got to be cautious and look out, for my arm. That way I'm ready to go 100% for that next start. So that was kind of the decision we made based on that. So.
Well, let's talk about that last start against Defiance. I was told that there were as many as maybe 15, 20 scouts in the stands and a lot of radar guns pointing at you. I was told you're hitting in the low 90s pretty regular. Is that a regular occurrence when you pitch to have it scouts or radar guns in the stands?
Yeah, I mean, they're there. I know they're there. I don't really try to think about it too much. I just go out and play and control what I can control and just give it all I got. I know they're there, and I accept that, and I try not to make a big deal about it, and just don't think about it, and just go out and play. So, and have fun.
That's the key, Seth, is having fun. Hey, this is Ken Francis, and appreciate you being on our show with us tonight. We like to talk to our high school athletes a lot about their college decisions and what goes into that. And you made your college decision last November and signing a national letter of intent to attend the Ohio State University. You were quoted as saying, you just liked a lot of things about the program. Tell us what you're looking forward to if assuming that you do go to Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, the academics are amazing. They're second to none. And, the different, the academics and the facilities and just everything they had to offer. I love the coaches there. They just great guys, down-to-earth guys, personal guys that'll, get to know you, and they're treating you like family. So it was just kind of one of those things when I visited. It was it just felt like home, and I was very open with the recruiting process, and I just when I visited there, it felt right. So that's where I decided to commit to.
Seth, let's talk a little bit about Ohio State, and there's another guy from up in your area that left-handed pitcher, went to Ohio State, was actually Big Ten Pitcher of the Year 1 year. He's now in the major leagues, and he's from Riestein, and that's or Marion Local, and that's Corey Lupke. Do you know Corey? Have you talked a little bit about some of the things that about your future? Have you discussed that with Corey, or what's your relationship with him?
A little bit. My dad has been in touch with Corey and his father kind of through this whole process with college and some of, the little bit of attention I'm getting. And they've been, a lot of help with, giving lots of advice. And we've, been very open and listening to what everybody has to say about, the whole process and what everybody has to offer and how to take this process and just kind of what we should do, mindset wise and where we should go from certain steps along the way. So yeah, it's been good. They've definitely been a lot of help to my family and I.
Seth, I've got one more question before I turn it back over to Craig, and you may have to be a little careful the way you answer this one, but I'm going to ask you anyways. So speaking of the big leagues, obviously you're a left-handed pitcher. You're throwing low to mid-90s. You are a target for a lot of these scouts in the upcoming draft here in June. What are your thoughts? How do you focus playing baseball for the Celina Bulldogs when you've got such big potential here coming at you potentially in June? And what can you tell us about the possibility of the Major League Draft?
Yeah, I've been very open to all the opportunities that I've been possibly given. With getting some attention, it's one of those things. Nothing's given to you, and we won't know anything until that week up until the draft, and it's kind of one of those things that you can't really control necessarily. So all you can do is control what you can do out on the field, and that's play hard and give it all you got. It's one of those things. It's definitely got to be a pretty good offer for me to turn down something with Ohio State. But I'm definitely open to the opportunity, whatever it's gonna take to better my career and, develop me as a player and as a pitcher also. So, no, it's just, I try not to think about it too much and, just go out and play and have fun. I'll let all that other stuff, figure itself out. And, if I go out there and show every bit that I am capable for that next level, then I'll let them make that decision. And, they can dictate that by, what I do on the field. So just controlling what I can control, and that's giving it all I got on the field. So.
All right. Hey, Seth, one more question before we let you go. But we get a lot of younger viewers out there that watch this show, and maybe some of them out there aspire to be a pitcher like you, or maybe they just aspire to throw a little bit harder. How does a guy learn to throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball? I mean, is that something that you actually have to work on to be able to do, or do you just fall out of bed one day being able to throw 90?
It's definitely something you got to work on. It's a lot of hard work in the off season. It's a lot of leg strength. It's a lot of mechanics development at the younger age. Being smart about how often you're pitching at a young age. You see too many kids nowadays just pitching over and over and over at the younger age, and it's just too much on their arms. It's sticking to it and just grinding out and being a hard worker in the off season is really what it takes. It's a lot of hard work, and anybody can do it. I believe, if you have the hard work and determination, I believe it's definitely obtainable. So all those viewers out there that are younger, I want to tell them to keep working hard and don't give up on your dreams. And that's anything in life. You put all your effort into it, and if you're passionate about it, go get and chase what you want in your life. So.
Well, that's good stuff, Seth. Listen, it was really neat talking to you tonight. You sound like you're great, very humble high school athlete for what the talent that you've been given, and obviously you work very hard on achieving to become a better athlete, and that's goes towards a lot of your success. So best of luck to you in your future, but maybe more importantly right now, best of luck to the Celina Bulldogs as you round out the regular season and look forward to a successful tournament run.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Seth.
Thanks.
All right, that was Celina pitching ace Seth Lonsway, and Ken, you're exactly right. A very level-headed young man there, and he answered those questions as far as you ask him about the draft, and he's very right. You got to take what's given to you, and we're used to watching guys like Corey Lupke and Craig Stammen and Jared Hoyne, guys like that, and you see how easy it can just go away and how hard you have to work to get it back.
I'm very impressed with the answers he gave, Craig. He can only control what he control, and that's his ability that he puts forth and plays with on the baseball diamond. And the rest of it, he just has to let fall and play where it falls. And again, very humble young man with a whole bunch of talent, and wish him the best of luck in the future.
All right, and that's going to about wrap it up for us tonight. One more thing to get to, and that is tonight's poll question. We asked our viewers about how many, what was it? Can read it again.
How many, it's kind of a trivia question tonight. Which area baseball conference has the most teams in the state baseball polls? Is it the GWAC, the MAC, the Shelby County Athletic League, or the WBL? TK and Heavy D, we'll go back to the telemetrics.
Well, our local fans just missed it. They were voting for the MAC. So 50% said they thought the MAC had it, 17 for GWAC, and 33 at WBL.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it is the GWAC. Is that correct, Craig?
I don't know. What we got, TK?
Well, if we look at the actual results, GWAC has 4 right now. We got Butler, Lebanon, Springboro, and Tippecanoe. So 4 in the
Four from the GWAC, so they got a lot more teams than some of them other conferences, which makes it a lot easier for them to potentially get 4 teams in the state.
Were any of those other conferences, they have any teams in it? I know the SCAL had Anna for sure.
So Anna from the SCAL, Russia just dropped out of that pool this week. MAC has 3 with Coldwater, Fort Recovery, and Delphi St. John. And WBL has also 4. So actually it's a tie. 4 from WBL at Walpock, Van Wert, Defiance, and of course Seth Lonsway's Bulldogs from Celina.
Cool.
Interesting.
All right.
Good stuff there. All right, and with that, that's going to wrap up our show. Do want to say special thanks to Seth Lonsway for joining us tonight. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report. Hanging